Happy First Sunday. I am Latoya, and we are going to jump into this scripture because we are on limited time, all right? And it's so much to cover. So we're in John chapter 9, and Jesus, that is going to heal a blind man. Now, we are covering the miracles of John because John told us that he's seen Jesus do so many things, but the ones that he included in his book were the ones that he believed would authenticate and corroborate who Jesus is so that you may believe. And so I thought, that's pretty cool. That if you are saying, look, let me see if I'm gonna go through all of these miracles, which ones would I include so that, we got to put this one in. We got to put this one in. So I wanted to look at those miracles that are specific to John. And there are 5 of them that we wanted to look at. And we've already looked at the wedding in Cana where he turned the water into wine. We looked at the healing of the official son where Jesus stayed in Cana and he healed the son that was all the way in Capernaum. And we saw the healing, or we read about the healing of the paralytic man at the pool of Bethsaida. And so now we're in John chapter 9. So I want to do it a little different because as I read, I'm going to teach. As we start in verse 1, it says, as he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. And I love it. When I'm watching like action movies and Marvel movies and things like that, when the action hits at the beginning of the movie, I'm like, come on, give me my money's worth. And that is what John is doing right here. Let's go ahead and get to what's about to happen. We've been focusing in on miracles. We know that Jesus will heal people. And so when we see as he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth, we already know that this gentleman, hey, this is a setup, and this gentleman is about to receive some miracles. So we see that in verse 1. And then in verse 2, here is the question, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he would be born blind? That's what the disciples are asking Jesus. They see this man's blindness as a bad thing. It's got to be a punishment or a consequence to sin. And they want to know whose fault is it that he has this situation. Is it because of what his parents did, or was it because he did? Verse 3, Jesus answered their question by saying it was neither that this man sinned nor his parents, but it was so that the works of God may be displayed in him. Jesus is saying it's nobody's fault, and it's not a bad thing because he said it's for the works of God to be displayed in him, aware, made known by way of his situation. Jesus goes on in verse 4 to say we must work the works of him who sent me as long as it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. I have a limited time. I need to do only the things that God has told me to do. And what a wonderful thing that this gentleman's situation showed up on Jesus's to-do list. All right. This is something that I specifically came to do here. And he goes on to say, while I'm in the world, I am the light of the world, literally speaking and figuratively speaking, or should I say physically speaking and spiritually speaking. Jesus is talking about being the light of the world for what he is about to do in this situation. And so he gets to work immediately after he said that. Verse 6 tells us he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle and applied the clay to the eyes of the gentleman and said, go wash in the pool of Siloam. Now, we have seen Jesus do miracles for 3 miracles beforehand. We've seen him with the water into wine. He didn't touch no clay pot. We've seen him with the official son, and he didn't touch the son. He didn't even go there. He didn't touch the father either. We've seen him at the pool of Bethsaida. He told that man, stand up, pick up your mat. So I was like, okay, Father, why now are you spitting on the ground, making mud, and applying it to somebody's eyes? This is not necessary for Jesus to do a miracle. I know that, but why is it included? Because it has to be a reason why it is included. He doesn't do anything just because. He already told you I'm on a limited time, so he's not going to waste time doing this if it was not for a reason, okay? But here he is, spitting on the ground, making clay, putting it on this gentleman, told him to go wash in the pool of Siloam, and the next part says, so he went away and washed, okay, and came back seeing. Here is the ultimate equation, divine equation, is that when Jesus does something, tells us to do something, plus our faith and your obedience to do it, okay, equals your deliverance and your healing and your blessing. This man allowed Jesus to put this mud on his face. This man listened when Jesus told him to go and wash. He goes and do all this even when he wasn't even looking for it. Okay, nowhere do we see where this gentleman asked for the healing. But we knew in Cana that the mama came and said, hey, there's no wine. The official's son, dad, came seeking some healing. The gentleman at the pool was there because he believed that there could be healing. So he was anticipating or hoping for healing. But in this case, this gentleman didn't even ask to be healed, because I've been blind since birth. Who can heal me of that? Not expecting that this is a possibility, yet he allowed Jesus to apply this to his eyes, go to the pool, wash, does what Jesus asked him to, open up his eyes, and his life is changed. Okay, he can see, he can go back to his family, a completely changed man. Now, after that, we got a whole bunch of backwards and forth between the neighbors as to, is this the same guy? Because the other guy could not see. All right. So this looked like him, but it can't be him because he can't see. So this man is having to prove, yes, it is me. And they ask him in verse 9, in verse 10, they say to him, how then were your eyes open? One of the versions they said, then how were your eyes open? Okay, translation, you lied. Well, then how are you able to see? Because the gentleman that we know of and that we're thinking about, all he used to do was sit in bed because he's been blind since birth. So how is it that you're able to see? And we have where this man tells them in verse 11, the man who is called Jesus made clay and anointed my eyes and said to me, go to Siloam and wash. So I went away and washed, and I received my sight. He repeats the process again, which lets me know that it is important. And they said to him, where is he? He said, I don't know. You want to know why they ask where he is? Because they know it ain't got nothing to do with the mud. There is nothing special about mud. There is nothing special about water. Has to be something special about this gentleman. Where is he? And they are also asking for a whole nother reason. They cart him off in front of the Pharisees, and we get to verse 14. Now it was a Sabbath on the day when Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, because on the Sabbath you can't do anything. It is against the law to do anything, including the works of the Father. You can't do the works of God on God's day. That's how the Pharisees saw it. And so Jesus had broke a whole bunch of rules, and that's all the Pharisees saw. Okay, he tells them the whole process again. He spit, he made mud, he put it on my eyes. He told me to go wash. I walk away seeing. They like, oh, okay, we breaking all kind of rules. Saliva was used as a remedy for healing, and you can't heal. And so you clearly broke the rules there by applying saliva to this gentleman's eyes. But then by him using it to make mud, that's considered work. And you're also breaking rules, Jesus, by having this man, or you working to heal this man on the Sabbath day. But guess what? Jesus does not care about breaking the rules to get to your miracle. He does not care about breaking the rules so that not only you see physically, but you see spiritually, and to expose those who think they see spiritually. What we see here in this whole process that Jesus has went through, this gentleman is put through the ringer from the moment he has been healed, from verse 9 all the way up into verse 34, where people are doubting him. They want to know why. They want to know, is Jesus a sinner? And this man having to set him straight. And then they end up calling him a sinner, kicking him out of the synagogue. And Jesus in verse 35 heard that they had put him out, and finding him, he said, do you believe in the Son of Man? Jesus don't care about what they had to say about him. He don't care about what they think about him. And he don't want the man to care about what they said about you or what they think about you, because none of that is important. What is important is, do you believe in the Son of Man? Because Jesus has come for one specific reason, and one specific reason only. That's the salvation of the world. That's the only thing I care about in this situation. This gentleman is like, I don't know who that is, but if you tell me who that is, I will believe, because you have done some things I have never seen before, or I never thought was possible You tell me, and I'm willing to follow. Jesus say, you have seen him, and he is the one who is talking to you. And he says, Lord, I believe. And he worshiped him. Okay. This gentleman's whole situation has been changed by him coming in contact with Jesus, by Jesus seeing him. He is now able to see both in the physical sense and in the spiritual sense. What do I want you to take away from this lesson? Oh my God, so many different things. Number one, we want to back up from the fact that when Jesus tells him that that it was so that the works of God may be displayed in him. Miracles don't calm sheep. All right, which means that if we want to be made aware of the work of God, it has to be outside of human control and outside of humans' understanding. So when we come across situations that seem like there's nothing possible that anybody can do here on this earth, then that is a perfect situation for God's power to be made known, for us to be aware of who he is, for the purpose of other people believing or for us to believe as well. So when you come across situations in your life where you are reaching some hardships, some difficulties, some impossible situations, it don't seem like it's going to work out. It don't seem like healing is going to take place. It doesn't seem like it's favorable in for me, and it doesn't seem like it will be a chance of deliverance. I want you to remember that it could be so that the work of God can be displayed in your situation, and it is possible to be done. Okay? It is possible to be done. I am a living witness. My father, last month, had a second stroke, which led to bleeding on the brain. So much bleeding. They said they had never seen that amount of blood before, and for weeks. My father was unresponsive, although he had brain activity and although he was able to breathe on his own. No response. And the doctors had done all they could do, and the medical explanation was said and done, period, at the end, because that is it. And what it looks like is that this is just not going to happen. We're so sorry. You should just move on. Okay. However, we have a totally different situation now to where my father is talking and aware and all of this good stuff. And so much so that he asked the doctors, why did this happen? And the doctor said, these things sometimes just happen. And I want to equate it back to what Jesus just said, that sometimes it is for the work of the Father to be displayed, because people are walking by, or doctors and interns are going by my father's room to see the man that they thought would not wake up, would not talk, would not be able to do anything on his own according to what they knew, because they can't believe it. And is this not why Jesus does the things that he do, so that you may believe? This is in 2020. I'm not talking about what happened in the New Testament. I'm talking about what happened in 2020, a couple of weeks ago. And I want you to hold on to that, because miracles still happen, okay? And we may think that, oh my gosh, why would God allow this man to suffer blindness and this discomfort and this disability for just his work to be displayed? But I bet you that blind man will tell you, I'm willing to go through 40 years even of discomfort and of being in a difficult situation, if it means that it led to my eternal salvation, because that is what it is all about. Okay, where I spend eternity in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't mind a couple of years of discomfort for eternity in heaven. All right. And so if my situation, my discomfort, my fear of whether or not my father is going to wake up, is he going to come home, is he going to make it out of this, if it leads to the belief of others coming into knowing Christ for their Lord and Savior and being saved, and their eternity and their salvation is secure, and it is worth it. Okay. And so what I want to say is that miracles still do happen. All right. And Jesus is still authenticating and corroborating who he is. So don't think that your situation is too dire. It's gone on for too long. That it does not matter what the case is, all that matters is that is Jesus in your situation. All right. See you next time. We're going to raise Lazarus from the dead. And I can't wait. All right. So, y'all have a good one. And